Stocks selling off after Apple threatened that they won't meet their revenues the first quarter. Jonathan, this is insane news. Is this the first of many?
Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this over the past few weeks, right? And it kind of started during earnings season when the comments of the coronavirus were mentioned in the conference calls during the earnings reports. This is something that unfortunately is a reality and has to be discussed, but I'm somewhat glad that Apple is really trying to get ahead of this and really trying to make sure that they're managing expectations. Because still, we spoke about this 3 weeks ago, and now we're here today. It's still unknown. What are the real numbers? What are the ramifications? What are the ripple effects? And how does this, transcend between Apple and down to all their suppliers? And it's not just, focused on Apple. This can be many, many different companies and sectors that are out there. So it's good to see that Apple's really throwing themselves out there and saying, look, this is something that's serious. It's going to affect our revenue moving forward and our expectations moving forward, and we need to address this now. So markets reacting accordingly, stocks acting accordingly. Curious to see what the next company headline is going to be, both from Apple and from others following along.
Like I said, it's probably going to be the first of many. So you're taking it as good news. It's the first company to put it out there, say there's a problem that they're addressing.
Yeah, the headline isn't good news, but the process is the right process, right? Getting ahead of this and making sure that investors know what they're thinking, in the boardroom. And this is clearly something that's a serious issue that has to be addressed.
Let's take Walmart. They reported today that they're not as affected. 2/3 of Walmart's products are domestically made in America. How important is that domestic presence right now?
Yeah, kind of interesting when you have a headline like the coronavirus, and then we talk about the implications of China. Some investors, or not all investors, are diving deep into Walmart's numbers. So when you have this headline here, and Walmart then exposes their exposure and how their products are being made and where they're being made and what the ramifications of that might be. It's interesting to hear that stat today, and that Walmart feels comfortable where they're at. So once again, corporate getting out there in front of it, stating where they feel they're going to be and how they're going to be affected. This is quite opposite headline from Apple, but once again, still very nice to hear that companies are getting in front of this, and we should be hearing more of this.
Well, how about U.S. companies that have most of their products here, like AK Steel? They're reporting in a couple weeks. They must be loving this. Do you think they're going to rip after they report that they're not affected?
I don't think anyone at this point is going to say they're not affected, right? I mean, you could take AK Steel, and I'm sure they deal with major corporations in China, right, that will have to slow down building and imports there. So I think everyone's affected in some way or some manner of this. Just a question of, how much is it going to be. So, yes, AK Steel will have this. I'm sure they're going to address it and discuss it. But once again, the meter is either we're really getting affected by this, or we're going to be able to kind of manage to get through this. And as we continue to talk, the numbers still aren't really the numbers. We don't know what the real numbers are. We don't know, the true number of cases and how it's all going to play out. So.
President Trump is thinking about the situation right now. He's been kind of hush-hush. He's not touting it.
Yeah, been very quiet on it, and it's kind of nice to see that our president is quiet on a topic for once, because I think he's waiting to see what the real implications are going to be, and we still don't have those numbers yet. Once again, we continue to talk about our U.S.-China relations with tariffs and how this is all going to play into things, and it seems like it's going down a road that is benefiting the U.S. So maybe for once he's kind of biting his lip and keeping quiet on something, because I think maybe any comments that might be negative towards this situation might have implications to the tariff talks. So he's not tweeting about this now. So that's good.
He doesn't need to promote this one.
No, this is one that's kind of unfolding on its own, and the data is still uncertain. So. It's quiet in this scenario is good.
Yes, quiet in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen often. So let's take it while we can.
Well, we'll leave it on that note. Thank you. That's Jonathan Corpina here at the New York Stock Exchange from Meridian Equity Partners.